Hello folks, welcome to OTD, also known as On the Deck, where you can get all the sports you need in 10 minutes. My name is Adam Orduna, this is my mom Gina.
He is the journalist.
She's the enthusiast.
I am a sports enthusiast, and anytime we get to championship time, I'm super enthusiastic.
Yes, when we're in the playoffs, we're in the postseason, it's championship time.
Yes.
It's really when you get the best of the best.
You do. It's hard not to be enthusiastic.
Yeah, you're just all in because it's the best. Yeah,
it's the best of the
everyone's
best.
playing they're at the highest levels as they can, and everyone's highly invested, and so it's really fun to watch. And right now we're in the NBA playoffs. We're still in the first round. We're at the beginning of the first round for the most part, but we have had the first games up to this point take place, and so we've got some games we want to talk about. And as our title says, what first game losers can bounce back and maybe take over the series? Now, we all know when you get in a big hole, you're down 3-1 or 3-0 or whatever, it's almost impossible to come back and win a full-on series. But it's not completely impossible.
It's not like it hasn't been done.
Right, but for the most part, it is such a small percentage for a team or a franchise to make just a great, ridiculous run and then go ahead and win that series. And so we're going to talk about some of the games that took place last night, and that obviously took place. The playoffs started on Saturday.
Yes.
And so we had games all weekend, and today is now Tuesday. And so we're going to have games tonight and tomorrow and just
all the way through Thursday, Friday.
Until the finals. And so it's really awesome. And so this is the best part of the NBA. Everyone's playing at a high elite level, and it's the best of the best, like we said. So let's go ahead and start with the West.
Okay.
Because a lot of those games have, there's only been, I guess on both sides, there's only just been one second game out of the series.
Right.
But, let's go ahead and talk about the Jazz and the Clippers, okay?
No.
This is a franchise that has...
Which one? The Clippers?
Well, the Clippers.
Yeah. The
Clippers are in desperate need of something positive because the last 2 seasons have been a huge dud. They have a great roster. We can list basically everybody on the roster, but they just continue to fall short. They've been their own worst enemy for the last 2 years. And the first game was a complete example of that specifically. It came down to the last second. Joe Johnson, who's been bouncing around, he had some great years in Atlanta, had signed a huge contract with the Nets. Then he got picked up by Miami, I believe it was 2 years ago. Or even last year, it was last year, and you know he's a scorer. At one point in time he was averaging 20 and 10 for the most part. He is now with the Utah Jazz, and he stole one with a last second shot that dropped. It bounced every part of the rim and then dropped at the very end of the game against the Clippers. And it's just a classic Clippers story as they let one go at home to the Utah Jazz. So the Jazz are up 1 over the Clippers. We got the Rockets and the Thunder. Now we got this game. You know, this series is a great series because it's the 2 MVPs, James Harden and Russell Westbrook.
Well, I'm going to correct you on that. This one had the potential to be a great series, but game 1 was...
Well, I'm just saying as far as the showmanship between these 2 athletes.
Right.
You know, again, I really feel like one of the MVP candidates is going to be completely overshadowed now because of the way the outcome is, and that's Russell Westbrook. The Rockets are just going to be too much for the Thunder. I think we both picked the Thunder to win the series.
We did both pick the Thunder.
Just off of the fact of the will of Russell Westbrook.
We picked with our heart, though, because we both love Russell Westbrook.
The roster just does not, for the Thunder, does not suggest that they're going to be able to compete with the Rockets.
You're not going to win 1 on 5. Well, no. I'm sorry to interrupt, because we'll go through and do our picks, but they're down 1 game right now.
Exactly. It's just going to be a lot. And so right now the Rockets are up over the Thunder. We did have the second game of the Spurs and the Grizzlies. The Spurs, they're up 2-0. It's just, again, we could pick this one from 2 miles away.
Just the title of that put me to sleep.
Exactly, that's what this series is going to be. Then we do have the Golden State Warriors and the Portland Trail Blazers. That was a pretty good game for the most part.
3/4 it was.
The Warriors, I think, again, like I said in the predictions, they're just going to be too much to handle for the Blazers. But so right now the Dubs are up 1-0 over the Blazers. Okay, so now let's go over to the East.
To the East, yeah.
And we're just going to continue to give you the updates here.
And then we'll go and
then we'll kind of just
pick who we think could have the best chance.
Who can maybe make these games or these make these a series.
Yeah.
Make this a series. Okay, the Bulls and the Celtics. Super sad news with Isaiah Thomas and his sister.
Gosh, his sister China
is, everyone in the NBA is really trying to.
Well, I think people all the world, anybody who has a sister or a sibling, you just know that relationship. It was sad.
Being a Washington native that he is, and his sister, being in a car wreck. I've been in myself been in a terrible car wreck. It's a terrible thing to go through. So we're all, hoping that they can maybe.
Well, we're definitely praying for their family.
But the Bulls did go ahead and win that first game in Boston.
In Boston.
The Cavs played for their second game last night against the Indiana Pacers. They're up 2-0 in that series. The Milwaukee Bucks and the Toronto Raptors. The Bucks actually, you could say, stole one from the Raptors. Mm-hmm. And then we have the Wizards and the Hawks, and the Wizards are up 1-0 against the Hawks. So that's kind of how everything is right now. Again, like we said, there's going to be games played on all the way through till June.
It's too much. The thing is too much. There's a game all the time. 7-game series. Yeah. It's the first 1 to 4, so you're going to have a lot of games to watch. And so that's kind of why the title is so important, because we were talking about this pre-production. The way that the playoffs are set up, it's basically equal for both teams. You want to have home field advantage to start out, or home court advantage to start out. But if you don't, you do have a chance to kind of rebuttal or give yourself another opportunity when you get your second chance at home. So out of these teams, I think there's a couple matchups that we feel like can go, either way. Do you have one series that you really are kind of having your eye on that you feel like, hey, this, even though it's 2-0 or it's 1-0, but they could really do something? Well, I actually have two, and I'll go on each side. On the West, I have no problem with the Warriors. They're going to win. The Spurs and Grizzlies, I already said it. Don't care. It'll be the Spurs. The Rocket and Thunder, I'm super sad about.
Yeah.
And this is what I was going to say earlier, is you can't win 1-on-5 ball in the playoffs.
Right.
You will steal some games in the regular season playing 1-on-5 with the whole team watching Russ. Oh, what did he do? Did you see that was great? But that's not going to work in the playoffs, and definitely not against the Rockets. But I'm interested in the Jazz-Clippers series. The Clippers are down one game. They lost one at home.
Yep.
They have another one at home, but then they got to go to Utah. Listen, the Clippers, I said, will snatch defeat out of the jaws of victory. They call it the Clipper curse, all of that.
Right.
But I don't think it's going to happen in the first round. So I think the one team in that whole lineup, I think the Clippers are going to bounce back. And I think if they have everything it takes to win.
Yeah.
I think they'll get out of the first round. They'll blow it at some point, but I just don't think it's in this first round. So I think the Clippers in the West.
Okay, cool.
And I don't know, should I go on to the East?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, absolutely.
On the East, Pacers, you're done. You might get one at home. You might get swept, which I hate that the Cavs might sweep somebody again. But they're done. The Pacers are done. Sorry, everybody. The Bulls Celtics is interesting to me. Yeah. I like we said in the predictions, are both still inconsistent. Right. I do think, though, that the Celtics are going to coalesce around Isaiah. I think they're going to come back, and I do think the Celtics, with home court advantage, are going to pull that one out. I think it'll be 7 games. Bucks and Raptors, I kind of don't care. But the one I really think, and they're already up, is the Wizards and Hawks. I think the Wizards can sweep the Hawks. I really do. So, okay, well, we're supposed to say which team is down that I think could come back in the West. I don't think any of those teams that lost are going to come back. Well, the Celtics.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that's right. I think the Celtics, who are down one game, I think they will ultimately win that series.
Right. Yeah, I love that we call the
East
the West, because it is so weak. We call them the West. But, I agree with you. I think the Jazz Clippers, at least as far as the West goes, I think is the most intriguing, because the Jazz, as I've said on multiple occasions, they don't have a outstanding roster, but they play team ball and they overachieve. And so, therefore, that will get you with a lot of teams that have good rosters like the Clippers, where it can be one-on-one ball, or, just you're turning the ball over. A well-sound team like the Jazz will get you. But I agree. I think the Clippers are going to really turn it back on, and that will be the more interesting matchup, I think. The Rockets Thunder, I just don't see the Thunder being able to really come back. They may get one at home, but that could, unless the Rockets don't show up at all, it's going to be really hard for us to take on 1-on-5. Like you said, in the playoffs, it's going to be tough. Spurs, Grizzlies, that's already done. The Blazers may be able to get 1 or 2 games depending on how they show up. They've got a really good backcourt. CJ McCollum and Damian Lillard, those guys are lethal, but I do see Dubs obviously winning that one. But yeah, the comeback matchup is the Jazz Clippers in the West. And then I definitely agree with the Celtics Bulls. I think that could potentially go to 6 or 7. That's the one that I'm marking. I think the Raptors could definitely come back against the Bucks.
Oh yeah, they could make a run at it.
Matchup. But you know the Bucks got something going on up there. Jason Kidd has that young group of guys playing well, and then the Wizards and Hawks. That's very similar to the Raptors and Bucks matchup. The Hawks probably will get at least 1 or 2 games, but I ultimately see the Wizards pulling away. But I think if there is a one that I'm going to circle for the West, it's going to be the Celtics and Bulls.
Right.
I love the Bulls, D Wade, Jimmy Butler. We love those guys. But the Celtics are going to rally around.
You know, it's the house Michael Jordan built.
So,
too.
yeah, exactly. So,
well, I got some real quick. The reason that the Hawks and the Raptors, neither of them are going to win those series is the same thing. Number one, my former husband, Jason Kidd. I love him. But they both have that same out of controlness, and I love that swag. But in the playoffs, they're both losing their composure. The Raptors been trying to fight. Every time somebody does something, the Raptors got to try jump somebody.
Man.
The Hawks were talking about it. They playing MMA ball out here.
Man.
The Wizards were smacking them around, but quit complaining, go play.
Yeah.
So you both have the same issue. It's right up here.
Right.
There you go.
Well, and I would love to see Russell Westbrook coming out of the West. You know, I would love to see him go on a run and just hopefully his team would help him out somehow.
They're too busy watching. They got front row seats.
Just like,
look at Russ. He's doing great.
Help him out, please. Do something to help him.
You got more big men than the Jolly Green Giants landing kids, and they just letting Russ get.
Do something. Just do something. He's trying.
We love you, Russ.
Please do something to help him out because he needs it, man. He needs it.
Billy Donovan looks like he has a headache every time.
He's trying to go back to college right now. Well, anyways, we want to say we appreciate your time. We're going to have much more in the NBA playoffs coming up. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Type in my name, Adam Orduna. Like our Facebook page. Type in OTD and follow us on Twitter. We're really excited for the playoffs, and we want to say we'll see you next time, folks.
Bye, Facebook Live.
All right. NBA playoffs. We'll have much